And that's the book we're going to be reviewing today. So without further ado, let's get right back into it. So the book starts in this neighborhood called Williamsburg, Brooklyn, New York. And this is where we find our main character, Reuven Malter. Now, Reuven Malter's been playing some baseball. Reuven is a part of this yeshiva baseball team, which is led by a man called Mr. Galanter. And eventually a game comes around where they're competing against a very orthodox group of Jews who also play baseball. And one of the people on that team happens to be Danny Saunders. Danny Saunders happens to be the kid of Reb Saunders, a Hasidic leader in the neighborhood. So this game goes on, and Reuven and Daniel start to take notice of each other because they realize they're pretty good. They're pretty good at baseball.
After a couple of back and forths,
Reuven goes up to pitch, and Daniel is there at bat. Now, Daniel misses his first two swings, but he starts to look at Reuven. He starts to look at him, stare at him, and strike the ball. Ball goes flying into Reuven's face, lands in his left eye. Reuven is hospitalized. He's brought to nearby hospital. Show a picture. And he's stuck there for days. Daniel comes in. Daniel comes in to visit him because Daniel actually feels bad about what he did. But Reuven doesn't know that. He just thinks he did it on purpose. Because of course he thinks he did it on purpose. But Reuven's father tells him that he should become friends with this kid, despite being hit in the eye, despite glass shattering and going into his eye. Reuven's father tells him he should become friends with him. But first, Reuven doesn't talk to him. He tells him to go away. Surprisingly, Daniel comes back a little while later and talks to him a little bit more, and they realize they like each other. And so Reuven comes out of the hospital. Everything's okay. The doctor, good doctor, by the way, and the two talk. And it turns out that this kid, Daniel, is pretty interesting because he's not like the rest of his group, the Hasidic group that he's a part of. He's not like his father at all. While these two are talking, getting to know each other better, Daniel lets it slip that he doesn't want to become a rabbi, which is a problem because the job of rabbi is passed down from father to son in his family. Daniel wants to pursue psychology, but he doesn't see a way out. But Reuven is the bridge between being a rabbi and freedom. And Reuven being a bridge for his family is a pretty important part of the story because Daniel's father, Reb Saunders, doesn't talk to him. He doesn't talk to him day to day. They only talk when they're studying Torah. So Reuven becomes a bridge for Reb Saunders to talk to his son. Reuven and Daniel are talking among each other, and one day, Daniel invites Reuven to come to his house. They go inside the synagogue. They go inside they go inside to a room with a table, and all these Hasids come around, sit around, and at the head of the table is Reb Saunders. And then Reb Saunders starts talking to his son. They start having a back and forth between Torah. They start talking about commentaries, different commentaries, how to interpret the Torah. Reb Saunders throws in some challenges for Daniel. This is the way they communicate. They only communicate like this. Daniel defeats the problems that he comes up with. His father's proud because he knows he's going to be a good rabbi. His son is very smart. And then he includes a problem about gematria. And so he starts adding letters like love plus 1 equals God. And they both equal the same number. He basically starts doing that. And he includes a problem in there that doesn't make sense. And he asks Daniel, was my math correct? And Daniel freezes. He doesn't know. But Reuven's right there. Reuven is a genius. He knows mathematics. So he speaks out loud finally. He's been silent this whole time. And he tells Reb Saunders, yeah, there's a problem right here. Now, after the whole gematria debate between Reb Saunders and Daniel and Reuven, life continues on. Reuven's still Reuven. He starts getting to student council. He's still good at math. And Daniel's still a psychologist. He wants to study psychology. He starts reading more. And eventually the two graduate high school, go on to the same college, lucky them. And it's around the same time where they realize that the Holocaust happened because that wasn't common knowledge back then. The atrocities weren't released until the end of World War II. And Reuben's father, David, starts to read on it, and he starts to get angry. He starts to become a Zionist. And it's around this time where he has a heart attack as well. So Reuben lives with them, lives with Reb Saunders' family. And Reuben makes a slight comment about Zionism. And Reb Saunders hates it. He hates Zionism. He's an anti-Zionist. So he lashes out against Reuben. And this is the first semblances of anti-Zionism in the story. Reuben's father becomes well again. And they start going to university. Everything's well. Until Reuben's father releases a speech at a rally about Zionism. And that's the final straw for Reb Saunders. He decides that's enough. My son can't be friends with a goy. So he breaks the friendship up. Daniel can't be around Reuben at all. So they stop being friends for years, for months, for years. Until the state of Israel is made official. It's made a real thing. And Reb Saunders realizes, gotta give up, guys. So they become friends again. And we reach the climax of the story where Daniel is going to a different university for psychology to get his psychology major. And he realizes that the letters of acceptance are going to go into the letterbox and his dad's going to know. But his dad already knew. They have a meeting. And Reb Saunders declares that he knows everything. He knows his son wants to be a psychologist, and he's okay because his son has a soul. Thanks to Reuben. Thanks to the master of the universe bringing Reuben into their life. So that's where the story ends. The two originally opposites are still opposites of each other. Personally, I think the book is very well written. I think Chaim Potok, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He did a very good job. Reuben's character being the bridge for these two people, very well done. Reuben's hatred for Reb Saunders, very well done, very well explained. Characters are overall very well fleshed out. Like Daniel, his evolution, eventually being very orthodox kid, seemingly from the outside, he changes and becomes a psychologist at the very end. Part of the book that struck me the most was the very ending, when Reb Saunders finally tells his son, and finally tells Reuben and to the reader why he hasn't been talking to his son. And it's been foreshadowed throughout the whole book, because David knows. Reuben's father knows why he won't talk to him, but he said that Reuben would never understand because he never raised him that way. So the meeting that the two friends have with Reb Saunders, where he spills his heart out, tells him why he raised him that way, is very impactful. It's a very impactful thing. Once again, characters are very well done. This time I want to go a little bit more into Reb Saunders. Initially, we don't know too much about him, obviously. We just know that Reuben doesn't like him and that he doesn't talk to his son. And that's how it stays for most of the book until the very end, when we realize why he is the way he is with his son. And so overall, it's a very good book. I would recommend the book to anybody who wants to read like a classic. I would put the book up there with the classics like but it's a very nice book. A 9 out of 10. And that's not just coming from me. I got someone else to give their opinion.
What book did you read?
The Chosen.
Did you like the book? Did you like The Chosen?
I did enjoy it. It taught me a lot of new things, like about the Jewish faith, which I found really interesting. But it was kind of harder to relate to it because all the main characters were boys. There's like no girl characters.
Could you give me a summary on the book that you read, The Chosen?
It's set in the 1940s and the early 50s, and it explores the relationship between two Jewish teenagers who belong to different sects of the Jewish faith, and like how they deal with the expectations that are placed upon them by like society and their families. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think this book's good enough to like recommend to a friend over summer to read, or?
I would only recommend it to someone who's like specifically looking to learn more about Judaism, or who's interested in exploring the themes of friendship and the relationship between a father and a son.
And what would you rate the book, 1 out of 10?
I rated it 7 out of 10. It's a bit lengthy, and it kind of drags on at parts, but it is interesting. It taught me a lot of new things, and I did find it it was compelling.
All right.
So, thank you for watching the video. Chosen's a very good book. Definitely read it if you haven't read it already.